Equal shares of different shapes. We can partition or divide whole shapes into equal parts. Any shapes. So take a look at these circles. We have 3 circles here. This first one is a whole. That means it's not partitioned into anything. It's one whole piece or a whole circle. Next, we have a circle that's partitioned or divided into 2 equal parts. 1, 2. And last, in this example, we have one that's partitioned into 4 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. What I want you to notice about this is that when we partition or divide shapes into equal parts, we do just that. We make sure that the parts that we make are equal. All of the parts are equal. If you look at the 2 examples on the right, the 2 equal parts and the 4 equal parts, those are all the same shape and they're all the same size. So when we divide or partition circles or any shape, if it's a circle, a triangle, a rectangle, what's important is that the shares are the same size, but the shares don't have to be the same shape. So let's take a look at that. Take a look at this square. How can I divide this square into 3 equal shares? Well, sometimes it's helpful to use small squares to help you, like we did yesterday when we took the squares and figured out how many would cover a shape. So if I wanted to divide this shape into just 3 parts, I could do it a couple ways. I could do this. So I have 3 shares here. So do it like this. So I could divide it this way. So in the last example and the example before that, the shares that we made were the same size and they were also the same shape. But in this case, let's see if we can divide this square differently into 3 equal parts that are not the same shape. So what about this? What if I divided my shape up like this? These shares are not the same shape. One of them looks like a rectangle, the bottom one. And then this bottom one looks like a rectangle. And then the other 2 sort of look like L's. But are they the same size? Well, let's take a look at our dashed lines. It looks like all 3 of the shares are made up of 3 squares each, right? So that means that even though they're not the same shape, they are the same size, so it does show equal shares. So you can see it like this. 3 squares, 3 squares, 3 squares. So even though they're not the same shape, they are the same size. So now what I want you to do is I want you to take a look at these pictures and think in your head, if I took my rectangle and I cut it like this, am I doing equal shares? So what about this one? Is this equal shares, yes or no? Right, it is equal shares. All of those are the same size. Imagine this was someone's birthday cake and you cut it into 15 pieces. Did you cut it into equal pieces? Are the pieces all the same size? No, they're not. You got some skinny pieces on the ends and some bigger pieces in the middle, so those are not equal shares. How about, is this one made of equal shares? No, again, we have some skinny pieces along the left side, some bigger pieces in the middle, some sort of middle-sized pieces. So those are not equal shares. If you had to cut this cake into 9 pieces, did everyone get the same? Yeah, they did. Those are all the same size. And how about this guy? Look at this one very carefully. This one is not equal shares. If you look at the top is smaller than the middle, and the middle is smaller than the bottom. So those ones are not equal shares. You have to look very carefully sometimes to see. Okay, what I want you to do is take a look at this rectangle and how it's divided. Anna drew the line in this rectangle to make 2 equal shares. So what I want you to tell me is, are these shares equal? Did she cut this rectangle in half so that they both get the same amount? Yes or no? And make sure that you explain why or why not.